Hello, Compelling Church family and friends, and really anybody else who's joining us this Thursday night. Welcome to another Thursday night, 7 p.m. with me. I'm really excited for tonight's, what we're going through, the information in the chapter we went through. I'm really excited for who's joining. So if you join on, let me know you're here and interact with me throughout the message. I just want to make sure everyone who's watching, this is, if you come across this from somebody else sharing it, this is not just for Compelling Church. This is for anybody, really, especially if you're part of any type of church. This message is for anyone. So, but especially for Compelling Church members, we of course want you to be joining us and hooking up with this message of invitality. So for those who don't know what we're doing, we're going through Pastor Adam Hershey. He's the lead pastor of Compelling Church here in the Des Moines area. And he wrote the book Invitality. I actually have both copies. The original copy was this one, and he revised the cover. And so this is the new Invitality book that we have been going through every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Facebook Live with me. And this week we're on chapter 4, which is culture shift. If you saw on the description. Also, this week I finally posted the link. If you don't have the book or if you want more information, I posted the link so you can go check out the website and learn more about Invitality and get yourself a copy if you're not in the area. Of course, if you're in the area, come see us on Sunday mornings. We have plenty of copies there with us. And right now, Compelling Church is meeting at Hotel Renovo in this Des Moines area. So come hang out with us on Sunday mornings. We'd love to have you join. So let's see, what else? Okay, let's talk about last week. Does anybody have any testimonies, or how did their week go? Did they do their assignment? Just to refresh your memory, your assignment last week was to ask people questions, have conversations with people, be open about having conversations about your faith, about Jesus. And I'm just curious how those conversations went. I found myself thinking a lot more about it throughout the week. This book has been changing my life personally. So if you have not started reading it, I encourage you to read it. These videos are just brief introductions of each chapter. They're not telling exactly all the stuff that Pastor Adam has in it. It's packed with awesome information, examples, practical applications. So I really encourage you guys to pick up a copy and read along with us. But I do have a couple things to mention that, what stood out to me throughout each chapter. And so that's what we're going to go through this week, culture shifts. So, but if you do have any testimonies, feel free to share it. We definitely want to know how this book is impacting your life. So, okay, so this week is culture shift. And I'm really excited about this because the more I start reading this book, the more I'm really just having a heart for people, for wanting to see people living an empowered life. And that's exactly what Compelling Church is about. But really, again, every church should be having this type of mentality. So I definitely recommend reading this book if you are feeling like stagnant in your relationship with the Lord, whatever, because there is nothing more exciting about seeing somebody inviting somebody to church and seeing their life completely change. It's one invitation can completely change somebody's life. And that's kind of what leads us into the start of this book, or this chapter this week, is Pastor Adam starts talking about the top reasons why people come to church. And I'm just curious what you guys think the top reason is. Does anybody have a guess? It's might be a little bit surprising, but the top reason, and by a large number, is through personal invitation. So personal invitation has a huge effect on why people come to church, which makes sense. When I was reading through this chapter, and Pastor Adam in the book starts talking about numbers, statistics about why people come to church, and personal invitation being the top percentage of why people come to church, I started thinking about this example about why, let's say if somebody invites you to a gathering or something that's at somebody else's house, it's just not the same. Or if it's an online invitation versus somebody like the host actually personally inviting you, you're more likely to go to that gathering or that party or that get together than if somebody else were to invite you, or it was by like a wedding invitation. Like if I get wedding invitations in the mail, but that person didn't like personally invite me like in person or to let me know I'm invited, I might not be like willing to go. Most likely I will, because I love to go to weddings. But do you get what I mean? Like you can apply this to anything. And I really do believe that personal invitations are going to be a huge way that we can bring people in the church. And really the reason why we want people in the church is to empower them for life. We want to see people's lives change, them to hear the good word, and to, their life to be radically changed, because God is so good. So the personal invitation ranks super high on why people go to church. So that's why it's super important to have a lifestyle of invitality. And that kind of starts to move us over into culture. We want to have a culture of living a lifestyle of invitality. And Pastor Adam just talks about not only individually having a lifestyle of invitation and inviting people to church, but that should be the culture of your church. And that's certainly the culture that Compelling Church wants to have and is striving to have. But no matter where you go to church, every church you walk in should have that culture of invitality. And if you're going to a church, ask yourself, does my church have a culture of invitality? Do I have a culture of invitality? And if you can't say that either your church or yourself doesn't have that culture of invitality, then you need to have a culture shift. And so that's why this chapter is called Culture Shift, because it's just recognizing that the power of inviting people to church and having that needs to be a culture. And if your church or you are not cultivating that type of environment, then you need to have a culture shift. So this week, I really just encourage you to spend some time in prayer and ask the Holy Spirit to just show you if you need to be a little bit more sensitive about or having that culture shift in your personal life. And then, the more I just started thinking about this chapter, if each person in the church starts to grab a hold of this culture, this personal lifestyle and culture of invitality, if every person in the church, then the church as a whole is going to have this culture of invitality, this culture of this lifestyle of bringing people in. And like I said, you're going to see lives change. I love it. I love hearing people who got invited to Compelling Church, have no affiliations to anybody, and just have seen God move in their life. And it's been amazing to watch. And I'm super excited for what God's going to do in Compelling Church moving on in this next week. But God can do that in any person's church, any church out there. We're all one body. And so there's not one church against the other. The whole point is to live for God. He's the reason. So, this message is for everybody. Okay, I gotta check my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. It's just God works through relationships and through people. So we want to be inviting people in, inviting them to the church and inviting into your life. All right, so this week the challenge is to invite somebody to church. It's that simple. It's really not that hard. Kind of to go back from last week, our conversations, like it should be so easy to talk about God. He's so good. I was just picking up this like energy bar that I really love, and I was like, oh, I want to post about this because it's so good. And I'm starting to think more about it's so easy for me to talk about products that are so good. It should be this easy to talk about God because he's so good. So last week's been rolling around in my head, and I just encourage you guys to keep having those conversations and, be bold and invite somebody to church. Even if it's inviting them to an online service or, hey, check it out online, whatever. As long as you're stepping out in your comfort zone and inviting somebody, you really have no idea how that service is going to impact somebody's life, and not just for a moment, but for the rest of their life. So that's the challenge this week. Spend some time in prayer, asking the Lord to show you your personal culture, if you need a culture shift, or if your church needs a culture shift, and how you can play a role in that culture shift. Well, I don't have anything else for you guys. I'm so excited for everybody who's joined. It's been so fun. I love coming on here every Thursday night. Also, I wanted to make one more comment about Koinonia. Koinonia nights. Compelling Church has been doing Koinonia nights. They've been awesome. So much fun. But the next one is going to be March 3rd. So it will not be next Wednesday. It will be on March 3rd is our next Koinonia night. So if you're in the area, come join us. Keep following Facebook or our online social media for where the location's going to be. And also, if you're in the area, come join us Sunday mornings. We'd love to see you. All right. Have a good rest of your Thursday night. Bye, guys.